Every fan of Chicago drill knows the big BD names like King Von and Lil Durk, but some of their rivals were just as famous in the city for what people said they did in the streets. One of Durk and Von's main enemies was 051 Melly, a figure many people in Chicago talked about with fear and fascination. Let's take a close look at the life of 051 Melly, a man often described as one of the most dangerous street figures in Chicago history. Melly was born Yael Williams and came up on the South Side, first in the Calumet Building, also known as Randolph Towers, before his family moved to 59th and Calumet after the projects got shut down. He was raised by his mother alongside his siblings, Wu and Kenya. Wu's father and Melly's stepfather, Jerome Golden, was a well-known BD in Chicago who is currently serving a life sentence for 4 murders and a robbery. Melly also had several uncles and cousins tied into different street crews, including Mobu, Kurt Mack, and No Limit G Slim, who was one of the founders of NLMB. With family like that, Melly was surrounded by gang culture from early on, and people around him pushed a lifestyle that came with real consequences. But just because your family has a name doesn't mean you automatically get respect, and Melly still had to build his own rep before anyone took him seriously. Growing up in the Calumet Building, he got cool with the BDS who claimed the area, but later at Dubois High School, he started connecting with Mickey Cobras. That's where he got close with a dude named 051 Zico, part of the 051 Money Gang. 051 Money Gang is a mixed set with members from different crews, BDS, Black P Stones, and Mickey Cobras, so Melly fit right in with all his connections. Even though he originally started as a BD, rumors floated around that he switched to Mickey Cobra after 051's main rivals became O-Block, 600, and Lamron, other BD sets. Getting involved in that conflict pushed people to call Melly BDK, or a renegade BD, since he was going against members of the same organization he once claimed. What stayed clear through everything was that Melly repped Young Money, a renegade squad known for doing things their own way and not following any strict gang structure. His ties to the set got even stronger after 051 Zico was killed by someone from THF. That moment changed Melly forever, and people say it made him move even more aggressively in the streets. Zico's death sparked a major war between Young Money and THF, with Melly becoming one of the main people taking action. He would get retaliation for Zico's death in 2010. Things got even wilder when a 600 member named Ang allegedly took out a Young Money member known as 051 T Streets, sparking a full-blown war between 600 and any crews tied to them. Melly and 051 Kiddo jumped deeper into the conflict, and Kiddo later got revenge by shooting 600 Shaq on the 5900 block of South Calumet Avenue. At this stage, people said Melly already had multiple shootings tied to his name, building a rep as someone who would not hesitate to go after anyone, even folks from the same organization, if they targeted someone close to him. What made Melly stand out was how many connections he had across the city. He was cool with people from different gangs, but when it came to conflict, he didn't care what flag the other person claimed. People around him said he treated the streets like a chess match, watching alliances, tracking who hung with who, studying his rivals on social media, and learning their routines so he could pull up at the perfect moment. After 600 Shaq was killed, BD members allegedly got revenge by killing a 14-year-old from 051 named Fats. Melly was close to Fats, and losing him had a heavy impact, making him move in an even more cold-hearted way according to those around him. The 051 crew started calling themselves Fats World to honor him, similar to how O-Block honored Odie Perry, or how Tuca's Neighborhood honored him. Melly's homie 051, Kiddo, played a big role in retaliating for Fats. First, Kiddo allegedly caught 600 tricks lacking in his car in the Washington Park area on the South Side. A witness later claimed they had seen Tricks, C-Day, and Le Capone around the area the same day Fats was killed. Soon after, Le Capone was murdered when leaving a recording studio. He was one of 600's rising stars, and his death hit the whole crew hard, making the tension between BD sets and 051 even more intense. Several people from 600 jumped on Twitter, throwing shots at Melly and disrespecting Fats. Melly was known for firing back online and talking reckless toward his rivals, and 600 members who were mourning La Capone took his words personally, pushing Melly into the spot as one of the BD's most hated rivals. The atmosphere in the city got even more chaotic after that. 051 didn't have many rappers at the time, and they were known more for street retaliation than music. But one rising Young Money rapper named Lil Mark started gaining attention for calling out the BDs, who were way bigger on the music scene. Lil Mark dropped a remix of Lil Durk's track Competition called No Competition, where he dissed several members of 600, OTF, Lamron, and other BD sets by name. Still hurting over L.A. Capone's death, BD members allegedly moved fast, and Lil Mark was killed just 3 days after releasing the diss track. Then things got even worse. Mark's death turned into a moment people used to mock 051, with members of 300, 600, and OTF posting jokes and disrespect online toward his crew. Lil Mark was killed while waiting for a bus, and several BD members posted photos and videos at that exact bus stop. Lil Durk even posted a video at the spot where Mark was shot saying, "This bus stop right here though. This is a real famous place," with the caption, "Free THFTP. That video reportedly hit Melly deeply, since he was close with Lil Mark, and it pushed him towards seeking revenge on people tied directly to Durk. A few months later, Melly spotted Durk's cousin OTF Nunu, also known as Nusky, sitting in a parked car outside a shopping complex. Nusky was an up-and-coming rapper freshly signed to Durk's OTF label, and just days before he passed, he had dropped a single called OC that was running up serious numbers. People around him thought he might be the next Southside artist to build major momentum, but his rise ended early after getting caught in the dangers tied to his affiliations with Durk. He was inside one of Durk's SUVs when it happened, and many believed Melly either mistook him for Durk or went looking for Durk, but caught Nusky because he was easier to reach. Either way, Nusky lost his life, and the situation balanced the score between 051 and OTF/600 after Lil Mark's death. But Melly didn't slow down. Less than a year later, Durk's manager OTF Chino was shot and killed while sitting in a parked car on the 8400 block of South Stony Island Avenue. Before he passed, Chino had appeared in the video for Bus Stop by THFTP, the same track filmed at the exact spot where Lil Mark had been killed. Around that same time, Durk fired shots at 051 on a remix to Chief Keef's Finito, where he rapped, "Riding through the ops, finna go and shoot Young Money up." Melly wasn't about to let any of that slide and struck at Chino the first moment he saw an opening. Then things got even more intense. After Chino's death, Melly went online and mocked his rival, saying on IG Live that he was eating a Chino burger, adding, "Just lay me a piece." Yeah, Chino burger. That's what they said. His homie Mobu Crump, a GD linked with King Louie's Man Up Band Up crew, joined in the disrespect by pulling up to the spot where Chino was killed, ordering a Chino burger, and tossing it away on camera. At this point, 2 people close to Durk had been killed in the conflict with 051, and Melly became a major target for Durk's anger. Durk dropped several diss tracks aimed directly at Melly, but by then the rapper was blowing up in the industry while Melly stayed deep in street activities, making it hard for either side to confront the other directly, which is why Melly focused on Nusky and Chino instead. Rumors even started floating that Durk put a price on Melly's head, and not long after, Melly was shot when THF Raheem opened fire on him and 2 associates on the 600 block of South Wentworth Avenue in the Inglewood neighborhood. All 3 survived, but Melly was hit in the head and foot. 051 Rio, who was also shot, quickly retaliated against Raheem. This sparked major conflict for both Melly and 051, because THF Raheem was the blood cousin of FBG Duck and the stepson of another feared figure, THF Bezo. Melly and Duck were known to be cool, but Duck also understood that an op is still an op, even if family ties are involved. Melly and Bezo were rivals too, but they respected each other as street legends. They even went on IG Live together, discussing their history and talking boldly about the wars between their sets, but respect never guaranteed safety. After Raheem was killed, THF Bezo was determined to respond, and he eventually caught Melly lacking at a house party along with Mobu Crump. The 2 were standing on the front lawn when a vehicle pulled up and opened fire. Mobu Crump was killed, and Melly, unbelievably, survived again, even after another graze to the head. Melly surviving 2 headshots back-to-back turned him into a ghost people swore they kept seeing everywhere, haunting every rival crew that ever crossed him. Even though Melly was likely the main target that night, since people claimed he was with Eri when they slid on THF Raheem, Mobu Crump also had a habit of dissing THF and other BD sets, so he was probably just caught in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and THF decided to handle him for talking wild and hanging around their enemies. Walking away from 2 shootings only boosted Melly's legend, and it didn't take long before he was moving around the streets again, like nothing ever happened. Soon after, 051 lost another member named Bankroll Q, and Melly made sure to strike back, sliding on the 2 rivals believed to be involved. But Melly's thirst for revenge was bottomless, and he kept stacking bodies according to Street Talk, somehow staying 1 step ahead of every person trying to take him out. Even after getting payback, he made it clear he still had a deep hatred for Durk and wanted revenge. When Durk and Von got arrested for attempted murder after a shooting outside the Varsity in Atlanta, Melly hopped on social media and said he hoped they beat the case, because he'd rather see them alive in the streets, not behind bars. That showed everyone he planned to keep pushing the feud until the very end. But Melly never got the chance to go after anyone else tied to them, because he lost his life in a completely different conflict. Around that time, Melly had gotten close with a crew called Rose City, a mixed set similar to 051 Money Gang with GDs and Renegade BDs. After Melly's homie Motor from Rose City got killed, the man people called the Gravedigger of Chicago started getting reckless, worn down by losing so many friends and carrying too many violent situations on his name. Melly's reputation made him bold, sometimes too bold. And that kind of comfort is dangerous when you've stacked up that many enemies. Things took a turn when he got into it with a dude from T-Quan World named 007 Nate over a dice game. Melly responded by shooting up Nate's house while his partner and newborn child were inside. No one was hit, but that moment sealed Nate's need for revenge. In September 2019, Melly pulled up to a house party thrown by FBG in Rose City to honor the passing of one of Duck's close friends, Can't Get Right. Melly came because he messed with both sides, but they warned him that rivals from TW might show up. Melly must have felt unbeatable because he stayed anyway, even knowing danger was coming. That's when 007 Nate caught him slipping and shot him in front of a full house of people. And the entire moment was caught on video. This time, Melly wasn't blessed with another miracle and passed away that night. Melly went down as one of the most feared shooters in Chicago's history. He was so well known that news outlets even called him a rapper despite him never dropping a single track. Still, he inspired countless diss songs and stories, all of which built his legend in ways he never even planned. But living that kind of life always leads to the same 2 endings, death or jail. And the wildest part is that with everything people claimed he did, what finally ended his run was a random shooting where no one was hit, turning into payback for the chaos he brought into the streets. His name lives on as a feared but respected figure whose story became a cautionary tale about how far street life can pull someone. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Make sure you hit subscribe, drop a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.